Welcome back to the Archean Eon, 2.4 billion years ago. If you time traveled here, you wouldn't recognize your own home. There were no trees, no grass, no blue sky. The atmosphere was a thick, choking haze of methane and smog. The sun was a pale, weak ghost behind the clouds. And the locals? They were monsters. Not big ones, microscopic ones. Trillions of single-celled organisms swarming in the dark, stagnant water. They lived in a world without oxygen. In fact, they hated it. To them, oxygen was a toxic waste, a poison. They ruled this planet for 1 billion years. They thought their reign would last forever, but they didn't know that one of them was about to build a weapon of mass destruction.
Evolution is usually slow, but sometimes it makes a mistake that changes the physics of the planet. Somewhere in the shallow sunlit water, a new type of bacteria appeared. It wasn't hiding in the deep vents anymore. It was bold. It floated right at the surface. We call them Cyanobacteria, and they had a superpower. They figured out how to do something impossible. They stopped eating rocks and started eating sunlight. They drank the water, ate the photons from the sun, and split them apart for energy. Photosynthesis was born. It was the ultimate unlimited power source. While the other bacteria were starving in the dark, the cyanobacteria were feasting. But there was a catch. To use the sun, they had to release a waste product, a gas they didn't need, oxygen. At first, the Earth tried to absorb the poison. The oceans back then were rich in dissolved iron, green, heavy, metallic water. When the first bubbles of oxygen leaked out of the cyanobacteria, they hit that iron, and chemistry took over. The iron rusted. Instantly, billions of tons of rust formed in the water and rained down to the bottom of the sea. The oceans turned from green to blood red. For millions of years, the planet bled rust. This is where the steel in your car comes from today, the ancient graveyards of that rusted ocean. But the ocean is only a sponge, and eventually, a sponge gets full. The iron ran out, the rust settled, but the cyanobacteria kept pumping. They pumped and pumped until the water couldn't hold any more gas. The oxygen had nowhere left to go, but up. It started as a whisper, then it became a scream. The oxygen burst out of the ocean and flooded the atmosphere. For us, this would have been a moment of triumph. The sky, for the first time in history, turned the beautiful shade of blue we see today. But for the life on Earth, it was the apocalypse. Remember, every living thing on the planet was anaerobic. They had no protection against this burning reactive gas. It fried their cells. It tore apart their DNA. It was a chemical massacre. Imagine an atmosphere made of chlorine gas. That is what oxygen was to them. 99% of all life on Earth died. It was the Great Oxidation Event. The cyanobacteria were accidentally murdering their neighbors. They had conquered the world. They had won the war. But they didn't realize they had also destroyed the planet's thermostat. The orange haze that used to cover the Earth wasn't just ugly, it was a blanket. As the oxygen flooded the sky, it scrubbed away the methane blanket. The greenhouse collapsed. Temperatures plummeted. The equator dropped to minus 50 degrees. The ice caps didn't just grow, they sprinted. From the North Pole and the South Pole, massive white walls of ice crushed everything in their path. They met at the equator. The entire planet was encased in a shell of ice a kilometer thick. From space, Earth looked like a white marble. A dead, frozen snowball floating in the black void. This was the Huronian Glaciation. It lasted for 300 million years. The cyanobacteria, the winners, the conquerors, were now trapped under the ice of their own making. Life should have ended here. The experiment should have failed. But life is stubborn. Deep under the crushing weight of the ice, in the pitch black, Tiny pockets of water remained liquid, and there, huddling for warmth near the volcanic vents, the survivors waited. They waited for 300 million years. Eventually, the volcano saved us. They punched through the ice, pumping carbon dioxide back into the air, rebuilding the blanket until the thaw began. When the ice melted, a new world emerged. The weak were gone. The orange sky was gone. The air was now rich with high-energy fuel, oxygen. The stage was set for something bigger, something more complex. The bacteria were done ruling alone. It was time for two cells to do the unthinkable: merge. The cannibal is coming.